Welcome back, Sam, for another Fortitude in 15 Elevation Nation. We are in the thick of May, and we're getting close to summertime, which means beach, concerts, sun, maybe some beers. And you know what that means, Sam. 1 week closer to Bali. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. For me, not for you. Just letting you know.
I was about to say, when did I get an invite to your honeymoon? That's news.
It's
I'm
going to be
down.
nice to disconnect fully.
Yeah, are you going no phone? You're just going to fully unplug?
I mean, it's basically no phone. You're like 12 hours ahead. So it's like,
That's fair.
yeah.
Time differences, man. I'm excited for you.
I might
Summer's
go
here.
no phone
I think
for
that'd be
3
good for
weeks. 3 weeks, no phone.
you. Yeah.
All right, I'll have to prep all of the podcasts. Like 3 weeks in advance, everything. I'll do all the scheduling for everything far in advance.
I like it.
I mean, I already do that in some regard, but not like it's gonna run fully on its own.
Exactly. It's easy. I'm excited for you. Summer's here. Elevation Nation has a lot of momentum brewing. That is for sure. We got a lot of exciting things going on. A lot of speaking gigs, a lot of new elevators joining the nation, a lot of Elevation Nation elevator meetups, some business deals. Things are rocking and rolling. We're feeling good. We got good momentum. But Parker, I think we got an interesting topic for today. I don't think it's one we've talked about before. How to deal with anger and frustration. I've been feeling a little bit hostile, a little bit on edge lately. I guess it's just because of, a lot going on. Feeling busy. Feeling like a lot of people are asking a lot of things of me and pulling me in different directions. And trying to figure out how to manage all of that is certainly overwhelming. And so sometimes you lash out and you get upset, or you put your walls up and try to hide and not deal with the situation. And yeah, I think we're going to talk about that today and how we deal with our anger and frustration. I mean, Parker is a newly married man. I imagine you're navigating now how to deal with when you get angry and not take it out on JJ. What have you been doing to manage your anger lately?
I mean, anger is, first of all, Sam, a human emotion. It's an innate human emotion. I think about Inside Out, right? The movie where you have all the different emotions, and sometimes one is more apparent than others. And I think when I'm feeling some rage, I tell myself this is normal in a sense that I'm feeling this, but is it normal for me to take in this as rage? Right? And I think it really takes some mental fortitude to kind of take a step back and being self-aware of that rage. Why am I feeling this way? Is it okay for me in this moment in time to feel this rage? And then it's now, what do I do when I feel this rage? I can go one way or the other. It's a fork in the road, right? I can let this rage overtake me, and I can let it unleash on other people, other things, or I can do what I do best and know myself even more and deeper. And what do I do when I feel rage? I get to the gym, I go for a run oftentimes, but I definitely acknowledge it. That's a big thing. It's stepping up, changing my environment. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it's maybe I need some food, right? Like simple things, right? Like, you know me, sometimes if I'm not having my coffee in the morning, I get angry at something. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it's you. So it's like, oh, reminder, drink that coffee, or drink a glass of water, or, get some sugar in my body. Those things make a difference. We forget that the normal things in our life can also change the way we feel, like our body chemistry. There's a reason why we eat food. There's a reason why we drink water. There's a reason why we need sunlight and physical exercise. So don't take those things for granted. But yeah, I mean, I like to think that rage it's a normal feeling. Anger is a normal feeling. And I know we oftentimes try to avoid it, but it's okay. It's just a matter of how you manage it. That's the most important piece. What about you? What are your thoughts on it?
I think you brought up a funny point about, maybe it's something as simple as you're hangry, right? That's legit. Like, as someone who intermittent fasts and doesn't eat breakfast, I'm way more irritable around 11, 12, 1 if I haven't had food than I am right when I wake up in the morning. And I think having a little bit of grace with yourself to realize that your brain is reacting quicker than it probably should and with more frustration and anger than it should based on simple human needs like food, water, and things like that, certainly a factor. I think one of the things that I'm trying my best to improve as I've dealt with, people pissing me off or me getting frustrated with people is to not take things personally, to understand that things may be miscommunicated. And I think the biggest thing I've been working on lately, Parker, that I think I have a lot of work to do is to not be so stubborn in thinking how I think or the way that I do things is the right way to approach a situation. You don't know.
I mean, it's probably as simple as, you remember I told you last week that I thought I scheduled, block scheduled that the podcast for this week would be, I thought I blocked it off, and then I was going through my schedule last week, and I realized, I'm going to be on a plane. We're not going to be able to do this. And I texted you. I'm like, dude, sorry, but we have to. Like, there's no choice. Like, I can't record this. I think 3 years ago or 2 years ago or even last year, you would have been throwing shade at me, but I commend you because you were like, okay, let's make the change. Tell me when you're free. Those types of things. And it sucks. And I'm sorry that happened, but I know for you probably took a moment and you're like, I get a choice here. How do I approach that situation? And yeah, I mean, it sucks. Like, I messed up, but at the same time.
No, I think you're 100% right. And I think I have unfairly critiqued people in the past, like gone way harder in on them when they fuck up and then been like, mine was just a mistake, right? Like, I've scheduled over things. Like, I've had flights pop up, Parker. I've had work trips be scheduled, and we have to move stuff. And you're never like, dude, what are you doing? And so I think it's just realizing that the same mistakes that you make are, one, they're not life and death. Like, we moved the podcast. It's all good. And it's realizing those things and just hopefully growing from them and not throwing shade when you don't need to. And I think a lot of things are shade thrown passively. Like, if we just came out and aired everything that was pissing us off, we wouldn't have to deal with a lot of this back and forth subconscious, shade throwing, right? Like, if I was actually really annoyed with you, Parker, because this was your 6th week in a row you've made us reschedule the podcast because you messed up and I didn't say something, then that's on me. Like, that's my fault for not saying, hey, you're doing this every single time, and it's making me feel like you don't value my schedule or my time, and that's unfair, and I feel like you're disrespecting me, right? If you don't voice that that's frustrating you, then I think you can't expect someone to change. Like, you need to kind of be confident in saying, hey, here's what I did wrong. Here's what I feel you did wrong. Do you see where I'm coming from? I'm trying to see where you're coming from. Can we meet in the middle? And I think, unfortunately, with some people who aren't as comfortable having these conversations, they make it seem like they're unapproachable to change or to want to talk through these things. And so it takes very special friends to feel the confidence to be able to call them out on their bullshit.
I mean, it's not even, to your point too, it's like you can feel the rage, the anger built up in yourself, and you could probably feel that energy coming from that other person too. And sometimes the hardest thing that we do is avoid the communication because we don't want to have it. It's uncomfortable, even though we both know it's apparent and there. And I'm not just talking you and me. I mean, this is other aspects of life with, maybe it's family, maybe it's with people at work, and maybe it's friends, like we all deal with that. Like I said, it's a normal human thing, but we live in our comfort bubble. And as crazy as it is, as maybe stupid as it is too, it's like we got to have some mental fortitude to really push like ourselves outside that comfort bubble to have that conversation, because it might not feel good. But I know is that when you do it and you do push and you have that conversation, Sam, it does feel good after.
Feels great.
It feels good because you feel like you accomplished something. You've gotten over that tension, and maybe that anger will subside a bit. But our brain is telling you, no, don't have that conversation. That's too much. That's too much. That's painful. Avoid pain. No. Elevation starts on the other side of the comfort zone. We've been preaching that, and we know that from day one. But yet we're having this conversation here, 316 episodes into the podcast. You and I both know it's a continuous thing. We got to always elevate our mental fortitude. We got to always continue to try to push ourselves outside the comfort zone, because the comfort zone is always there, and it's so lovely and bubbly and brings us back.
Brings us back. I think you're spot on. Having those conversations are tough. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to realize you have to have them.
Oh, one more thing. I was Googling, like, give me a statistic on anger on like Google right now. And I think it's just very funny how like the AI Google thing works now. I don't know if you ever Google stuff.
No, I haven't.
The AI just pops out stats. So I wrote statistic about anger, and then the AI generates, here's some AI stats about anger. And I think this just shows me take the AI with a grain of salt. You ready for this? 7.81% of people in the United States have anger. 24% of adults globally have experienced anger. Oh, you're telling me 1 in 4 people have experienced anger. Okay, thank you, Google. I didn't know that you didn't know about human emotions. Like, only 24% of people have anger? Oh, okay.
That's impressive.
I'll believe that. No, it's 100%.
I'm in the wrong circles then, man.
Yeah, this is an innate human emotion. I think everyone has experienced some form of anger in their life.
It's like, nope, just 24% of people.
I mean,
I wonder, Parker,
12% of people have trouble controlling their anger. Like, where are these coming from?
That's what I was about to say. Can you click into that? Like, are people self-selecting these? Like, have you ever felt anger and people are trying to pretend like they don't get angry? That maybe is the case. I think we know that's not the truth.
Are you ready for this one? 80% of drivers have been involved in road rage. Okay, so that's some form of anger.
80% of drivers,
right? If that's some form of road rage, of anger. 80%. Okay, let's call 2 billion people who have been able to drive a car, or you know what, 4 billion people who have driven a car. 80% of those 4 billion people. Okay, now we're at like 3.25 billion of what? How many people in the world, Sam? 8 billion
Dude,
people.
You just stumped AI Google.
Now we're at like 50% of anger. People have been angry. Like, come on.
You win.
You beat the
robots.
Stuff is
man.
non-logical. I think. I mean, this is a different conversation.
Parker's
for a different
getting
day.
angry at AI for saying that he's not angry.
I just think it's funny. It's like, where are these pulling these stats from? Yeah.
Oh,
a non-human talking about. Oh yeah, 24% of people have ever been angry.
Never know. Thanks, AI. Elevator shout out number 43.
So
Cassidy Burns, incredible real estate guru in Washington, D.C., real estate investor, just launched a new fund that he's collecting capital for. So that's now a couple funds in Cassidy's portfolio. This one focused on vacation properties. His other one's focused on the Virginia and D.C. areas with BPG Holdings, his company. Doing big things, continuing to elevate and grow. And he just announced he and his partner are having their second child. So
wow.
Big week for Cassidy. Got the fun going and a baby cooking. A lot of elevating going for Elevation Nation right there.
That's pretty cool. I love it. I think there's some weddings of elevators this past month, and I'm not talking about myself, Sam, even though I got the shout out in the newsletter, which was pretty cool. Haven't had that yet. Let's see. We got Carly Silverman got married a couple weeks ago, elevator 117 down in Florida, and then another elevator, Jack Settleman. Whew. Let's see what elevator number is Jack. I don't even know. 44. Got married this past weekend.
Mazel tov.
We're getting old, dude. All of the elevators are now we're not talking college real world anymore. We're talking non-married life to married life. Buckle up. No, we're not changing that. Go to what is it? Seeing other people or Life in Progress podcast, they talk a lot more about, I feel like, the wedding life than we do. We talk about elevating all the time.
I love it. Elevation Nation, control that anger. Don't listen to AI. Until next week, peace.